Perfect.
Welcome back to the 3-Star Podcast, the Quarantine Cast. I am Miles, and as always, I am joined by...
Hey guys, it's Shaun. How are you?
And it's me. Fading in and out, I am. I won't do that the whole podcast, it'll be fine.
we will have some... I don't know if you've noticed yet, gents, but I'm hoping that we've got a little bit of time to give you an update later on, a little bit of Star Wars chat. But before we get on to all of that, there you are, Rich. How you guys doing? You good?
I'm okay. A little bit of backstory to the people that aren't aware of what happens before we actually hit record. I went shopping this morning, completely messed up my wrist again I keep telling you all about. So that's now popped out of place completely. I was late to our little podcast meeting to discuss how we're actually going to run things. So I'm trying to, podcast viewers, I'm trying to get the sympathy vote. Someone in this chat may be my manager.
And yeah, and as you can see, Rich ain't buying that at all. But anyway, apart from that, yeah, I think now to be mentioning lockdown and quarantine, it's kind of almost becoming a bit of the norm, and we're all past the initial kind of novelty stage of it all, like what's going to happen and stuff like that. I just wanted to check in with you two. How's things going, especially seeing as you kind of like got the little ones to look after and keep him busy and things. But how's it going for you guys?
For me, it's kind of okay. My wife works in retail, and actually, to be honest, she is a little bit concerned about kind of going back too soon. So, and you know, as we are very lucky because we can work at home, and I'm incredibly lucky because I've got a decent sized garden. So I do count my blessings, really. So we're doing well. Yeah. We're fine. We're concerned about the key workers and the NHS staff, and can't thank them enough. But we're very, very lucky, and we're grateful for it. Miles?
I'm the same, apart from Emma's already in retail. So Emma works in retail currently, so she's still going back and forth from the house. I'm only leaving the house for shopping and exercise. I must admit, I am breaking the rule. I am doing my 2 daily exercise. There's one exercise, which is Miles' alone time, get out of the house, possibly take the dog or take the bike. Then the second one is when the whole family goes for a nice little walk.
Yeah, I think that's something that we can laugh and joke about it, but things like that where if on a daily basis we're managing to have the time to go for a family walk or something like that, or, you know, even if it's that kind of, I don't know, Rich, but even if you're just getting like half an hour with all 3 of you in the back garden and stuff, I know it's something you do weekly anyway, but the fact that now we're kind of doing it a bit more and stuff, I think people have got to kind of be forced to kind of look at the positives there, and I think that's really pretty cool that a lot of people are doing that. I'm just kind of going on, I have to, by a rule really, some stage throughout the day, I go on a walk just for 10 minutes, just because work for us has really kind of like, it's the accelerator's been hit a little bit more, and it's hard to get by, especially someone like myself who normally I get a lot of energy from the likes of you two and stuff just in the office. Rich, you'll know me and you'll go for a coffee so many times in a day just to kind of like, so we can just to kind of like let off some steam, I suppose. And that's the bit that I'm finding difficult, especially like living on my own and that, but at the same time is a godsend because my brother's sending me like clips of the kids and keeping them busy, saying is really difficult. Is that what you guys are finding? Is it keeping them entertained? Are they getting over the fact of like the initial novelty? And is it difficult to keep them really busy, I suppose?
No, it's difficult to keep them productive. It's not difficult to keep them busy. I can tell Jaden, sit on your PlayStation and play with my nephews, and he will sit upstairs and I'll hear him screaming about Fortnite. I'll hear him screaming about Minecraft. I'll hear him screaming about Roblox. He is PlayStation in front of him. Now, trying to get him to do Joe Wicks in the morning or trying to get him to do a bit of schoolwork, some BBC Bite-Sized, that's the task.
Yeah. Difficult.
I'm at a different stage. My little one is just over 3, so Miles is kind of ahead of me with one and then behind me with the other one, but I guess he knows what's coming. Our little one is bags of energy. We thought she was really going to... Well, she does really miss her friends, and daily it breaks your heart when she says, "Oh, I really miss so-and-so, you know. I really miss Uncle Shaun, you know." But she's adapted, again, very lucky and really thankful. She's adapted really well. She's not of a school age, and she's just over 3, so we're doing kind of a lot of fun stuff, but it's a lot of hard work, and most of it is on my wife's shoulders. You know, I won't deny it. I can still escape to work every day and do things like this, so I do get it easier.
Hey, good point. I think a lot of, because we've got a lot of friends who obviously watch the show here who work in mobile phone shops up and down the country, a lot of people going in call centres up and down the country, and I think they'll probably be a little bit envious that we've got work on at the moment for a kind of escapism from having to keep yourself busy. I know that there's many a time that I wish I could pick this laptop up and throw it out of this this high-story window here. But the truth is, if it's keeping you busy, it's keeping you going, really. I've recently reminded my brother around Samsung Kids on the tablets that he's got over there. I don't know, have you guys utilised those much?
Yes, I mean, probably Miles might. I don't know if Miles does more than me. We're just starting to introduce a little bit of screen time to our little one, just because there's learning phonics, because she won't be going to school till a year in September. So we've got a while, but we started doing the shapes of letters. You know, the stuff we did, Shaun, last year with you.
We only learned it last year.
Yeah, kicking.
Samsung had to pay for us to go on that course. It's called the Black Country Growing Up kind of acceleration course, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so she's on that, is she?
Yeah. We're just starting that, but I don't know if it's different for Miles. I guess it's a bit early for that.
Yeah, she doesn't care for screen time. I mean, if she sees you on your phone, she'll take it, but she won't do anything apart from just stare at it, lick the screen, chew the bottom of your phone, maybe. That's about it. The most screen time she gets invested in is if me or the missus video call like our mums or our sister. Then she'll take the phone and she'll just stare at the phone because she can see her face. But yeah, she's too young to understand what happens with tablets and what's on the screen. So. And
here's an interesting one for you. And guys, put your comments in below as well so that we can get a feel for what you guys think. So you've both mentioned that phrase there, like the screen time. And I guess like originally, this is my kind of trail of thought around kids and tech. So originally I was thinking, okay, so you've got to minimise that amount of screen time that they get, make sure that they're not totally attached to the tech too much. There's a real world to be living in and stuff like that. But then I kind of changed my mind in a way, or I at least took some time to think another school through, which was more that, are we really, if we're stopping them having the screen time and like policing that massively, are we really kind of like stopping them from using the ink pen and saying, don't forget the feather and slate, or the slate is there, and kind of like stopping them from using that? Are we saying to them, your eyes will go square if you sit and watch the TV too much? All these things that prove not to be true.
Prehistoric.
And how do you feel?
It's prehistoric thinking. It is prehistoric thinking. Anyone who tells their kid you shouldn't be playing games this much, shouldn't be on the screen this much, clearly doesn't understand how the 21st century works. Anyone who is in, I'd say my generation, so I'm 27 years old, but anyone in my generation would have most likely have grown up with the game consoles starting to become a massive thing, the internet developing into something that was looked at as only the nerds went on, and the internet was only ever used in hacking films. So there'd be always like films that are set in like the 70s or 80s where someone wanted their school grades changing, so tapping away to hacking the school to change it. That's completely wrong. If our generation was, like for example, if my mum had encouraged me more, I could have been one of these rich YouTubers. I could have been someone that just plays games all the time and records it for YouTube. The fact that there are kids out there now, it's, what's his name? Ryan's Corner. I don't know if any of you two know who Ryan's Corner is, but it's the little kid who might be 8 years old possibly, and all he does is review toys on YouTube.
Yeah, does unboxing.
Like his parents go out, it started as him just reviewing toys, now he does unboxing. That kid made, I'm going to have to Google it while we're on air, but that kid made, I'm sure it was something like 20 million last year.
Yeah. I know
But didn't he get in trouble? Didn't he get in trouble for reviewing stuff that was and not disclosing that stuff was paid for or something? There was some big scandal around it years ago.
He would have, but YouTube.
Indeed.
YouTube have changed all that now. So like YouTube do things, and I think Instagram have done it, Twitter might do, where if you post something that is an advertisement, you have to tell people it's a paid advertisement. Yeah. So whereas a few years ago on YouTube, so for example, this isn't, guys, but because I've got this background and this t-shirt, there's some people may think, oh, I wonder if the 3-Star Podcast has been sponsored by Disney. Let me take this now. We haven't. We are not appearing. Yeah, we're trying to get on Disney Plus, but we are not on there just yet. But if this was, when this comes up on YouTube, in the caption, it would have to say paid advertisement. Now, it doesn't have to tell you who it's paid by, but they do have to tell you it's a paid advertisement. And now YouTubers have to tell you when it's an ad as well, like when they're doing these videos. So I can imagine he would have got in some sort of trouble. He's reviewing, getting all these views. You'd be silly not to approach him and say, here you go, we're going to give you a free Transformer, review this for us and we'll pay you.
It's interesting how he's there making millions and, you know, I think my nephews and niece are probably just getting to grips with Samsung Kids, but it is a really powerful tool. And that screen time thing, I was going to say that, as Rich was saying there, like monitoring screen time, I think there's two things. Like, first of all, we've got to admit that, like Freya, for example, Rich, she's going to be using tech all her life, right?
She will.
And she's got you as a guide. She's going to be probably be pretty decent at that. But monitoring the screen time and just, because there's got to be times, even when we come away from work and we've logged off our last Zoom call or we've been on our screen, that you've got to admit that sometimes you go and stand outside and you just readjust your eyes and kind of bring yourself back together. So I think it is important, but that's what I like about Samsung Kids is you can, the app will do that for you, you know, and you've got the other problem. Go on, sorry, Rich.
No, I just think you made a really good point there, that going back to what we were all saying about Samsung Kids is, and Kids Home as it was, is that's how we're introducing screen time to our little one, because I think there's a balance, and I agree with bits of what Miles said, but also it's got to be a balance. So too much screen time means you won't develop in other ways, maybe. I'm lucky because I'm a complete tech person, and I probably spend, I use Samsung Wellbeing to tell me how way too much I use on my devices. But my other half barely uses tech, so she's going to get that balance of, you know, getting out there, crafting, blowing bubbles, playing stuff, building huts, you know, building dens, but also, you know, having a really good like hyper-fast router and knowing how to toggle the tools on it.
Another thing that comes into it as well is I think a lot's changed from when we were younger and the options that we had. Like, I could play outside and there'd be no issues, but I've spoken to some of my friends. So Rich, I'll ask you, and Shaun, I can ask you as well. Rich, when Freya gets to primary school, when she's in, let's say, year 4 and 5, which is about 7, 8, 9 years old, would you let her get the bus to school by herself? At 8 years old?
It depends how she is. I honestly can't predict what she is going to be like as a person when she's 7 years old. She might be 20 and I still don't let her. She might be 5. I honestly don't know. You know, I'm not dodging the question. That would be more two things, right? What she's like as a person and how kind of streetwise and worldwide she is, and 2, how much I can and my wife can manage our anxieties about her and the world. If she's got good friends and she goes with them I'm fine. But yeah, I am an overprotective parent. I'll admit that.
Yeah, because when I was in primary school, I got the bus. I got the bus in year 4, 5 and 6. I used to get the bus to Oakham, walk to the top of my road, cross a main road, wait at the bottom of a hill, get on the bus to school. And then when I talked to when I used to have dreads, the girl that used to do my dreads, she's got an 8-year-old as well. And when I was like, why don't you let him walk to school by himself? That was the most shocking thing I'd ever said to her. But then we realised times have changed and people are, I think, a bit more aware or less aware.
I think Shaun used to go to school in a limo, so I think it was bulletproof as well, so I don't think he had any problems.
Yeah.
If you don't know what a limo is in Warsaw, a limo is slang for riding a tree branch. If you're from Warsaw, just for the worldwide viewers.
I remember going when I first started going to walking school on my own, and I was in primary school. But that's a really interesting question that you've put there. As in, I think it's fine when it's you, but when it's the little ones, you're kind of like, nope, you know, like no way. And how does, with the world always evolving and moving forward, how do we encourage that with the people because it's that kind of like parenting kind of nature, I suppose. Even myself, who's only an uncle, you know, I can feel it there, boys, for you.
I've got a good one for you, Shaun.
Yeah.
And for Miles, actually, back on that, the bigger question is, when am I going to let her have her own mobile phone? And I know DT, our big boss, has gone through this, and he's finally allowed his younger one to have a phone. Yeah. I think she's about 6 months old. He's allowed her, I can't remember her age, sorry. But he's allowed her to finally to have a phone. And actually, if you use things like Find My Mobile, the service to, you know, we think, let's use Find My Mobile to find your phone down the back of the sofa, whatever, in the back of the limo. But you can also set Guardians on there, and you can have it go into auto power saving mode if your kid forgets to charge it. You can track them. You know, it's a conversation you'd have to have with them. Do you agree with it?
Really, really good shout. And do you know what? As someone who's a trainer for a living, like all three of us, and you always trying to relate to your audience, you know, I've never actually thought of Find My Mobile for a kind of parenting tool, really. And that is a bloody good shout there, Rich. Probably just created ourselves a whole load of work, but we'll have to issue that as a complete project. But yeah, because the thought right now of my nephew, my oldest nephew, 7, being out on his own terrifies me. Absolutely terrifies me, right? Just the thought of it right there. Yeah. But that as a safety net and under correct supervision and stuff like that, then it's something that I'm thinking, okay, that, you know, there could be that involved as well. And
you can start letting off the reins a bit, can't you? You can say you can have a phone and you can walk to school on your own, as long as you stay in touch and you know.
That's it. But guys, do you mind if I just completely switch the conversation ever so quickly and radically?
Go for it.
You're going to look at the background that I've got.
Oh, I thought you was pointing to your hair. I was going to say, have you gone for the?
No, the
have you done the typical British? I'm waiting for Shaun to join the rest of the 70% of the British lads that are like.
I've got a massive fro under here.
Karen, get the clippers out. It's going off. It's going
Karen,
off. Number 1, all over.
I've got no work. The pubs are closed. Karen, get them clippers. I'll show them. What is this?
Record me for
the tick.
Yeah, we've got into Black Country kind of dialect there, but Rich follows it all. Yeah, I watched. Shaun's seen some Star Wars, and I just wanted you to acknowledge probably one of cinematography's most iconic scenes. I don't think I'd be lying in saying that. I'm not a Star Wars kind of fanboy at all, but this is phenomenal. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through the first episode or the first film, which I decided to go with New Hope. And cool. I just want to put a shout out to Adam Hamilton right now, who messages me after most podcasts, and he said, forget what them boys have said. Watch it from number 1, you'll be okay. And I said, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, man, yeah, go for it. But I decided to go with 4, 5, 6 anyway first. So Adam, I did ignore your guidance, mate, because when I've got Rich looking me in the eye and saying, this is the order you've been looking for. See what I'm doing there,
See
Rich?
references.
See what I'm doing?
Okay, prove it now.
I'm doing, yeah?
What is the name of that planet?
Oh, mate, I'm not gonna. I know it's the one where they go and they're in the bar. And that is a cool scene, like all the different aliens in there and just serving drinks and stuff. What is the name of the planet, mate? Go on.
I'll give you. It starts with a T.
Mate,
and ends in Tatooine. There you go. There's a clue.
Tatooine.
There you go.
Tatooine.
No,
Tatooine.
Miles, don't show a tat because you're going to have to show a ween in a minute.
I nearly... Move on.
We can't do that.
I did.
Guys, I will say, because I know that everybody always gives me so much stick about the Star Wars thing, I am enjoying watching. I've only watched 3/4 of an episode. I know I've not done a full one there. I will say that I'd be disappointed if it doesn't get better from here on in, and there's something that's really grips me enough to watch like 13 films. But I can see, it's got something behind it. Maybe it's just that it's very old and I already know little things. Like I do know that Obi-Wan Kenobi. What's his name?
Close enough, mate. Kenobi. Close enough.
Yeah,
Close. Yeah,
I know
just
that
stick with
later
Obi-Wan.
on, Liam Neeson plays that role. Is that not right? Like
Yeah,
in
he's
another film,
younger.
like when it's
Well, no,
younger version.
No. Ewan McGregor.
No, well, Ewan McGregor. Well, okay. So I think what I'm trying to say is that even though I've not watched all of them, because they're so popular, there's a lot of references and a lot of spoilers, I suppose, that I would have never have got through in my life. And I never knew that I knew all this stuff until I saw different parts, and I thought, okay. So I know Anakin is Darth Vader, and I am your father, or whatever that kind of phrase is going to come out soon. I'm presuming that'll be the episode 6. 4, 5, 6 at the end of it. That's when I'm expecting it. But you know what? Yeah, I've seen a bit of Star Wars, and I just wanted to let you know, guys.
Cool.
So Shaun, before we move on, I just want to ask you one question. Did you finish A New Hope, or did you say you're 3/4 of the way through?
3/4 of the way through.
I think you should have covered it by now because you mentioned the scene at the bar. So just want to get your opinion. I want to know if you even know what I'm talking about. Who shot first?
Who shot first? Is that in the bar when Harrison Ford, when he's after he says, "I've got to take you with me," and Harrison Ford's just had enough. It's like bang.
It's when Greedo's going to take him back to Jabba the Hutt for the bounty. But the question, it's a good question, but it's a loaded question because it depends what edit you watch. So naughty Miles.
Well, I don't know what Miles has done there, and I'm sure there's a lot of our viewers now going, But in my head, it was a one shot, one kill. That's the deal, sort of thing. It was.
Okay.
It was.
Did you watch it on?
Harris.
Did you watch it on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
There's only one shot fired. So to put the story short, Shaun, when the film came, hold on, I might get it wrong, so Rich can jump in. But when the film first came out, I do believe Greedo shoots first, and then Harrison Ford shoots like a millisecond after him. But then, as you've had, I think it's the theatre releases, DVD releases,
Theatrical,
over time, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for. Over time, Shaun, that has changed as to who shot first. So there are some cuts where Harrison Ford will shoot first, and there are some cuts where Greedo shoots first. And now what they've done on Disney Plus to stop this all happening is they've just completely re-edited it, so you only see Harrison Ford shoot.
That's all
weird.
that I saw.
That's really backwards because in the original theatre release, it was Solo shot Greedo first, and then George Lucas decided that makes him a bloodthirsty murderer. So in the next edit, Greedo shot first a fraction before and missed him, but Luke shot him, Han shot him, and killed him. So then the final version, I've lost track. I think maybe Jar Jar Binks swings in and hits him with a lightsaber. I don't know what's going on.
I think in the Disney Plus one, if you get a chance to watching it, I don't even think Greedo flinches. I think he might pull his gun, but I don't think no shots get fired. It's only Harrison Ford.
Because they just added a sound effect originally, I think, to make it sound like Greedo had shot first. But yeah.
Something that I picked up on was Star Wars and all of this. You kind of fast forward through the idea that we can move from planet to planet, that we're kind of talking amongst aliens and all these intergalactic species are getting on. But something that still remains the same is that Luke Skywalker's uncle and auntie want him to stay there because there's farming to be done. Good old farming. We haven't got through the autonomous kind of food growth and harvest yet. It's yes. You can't go on this massive adventure because I need you, and you know I do. Yeah.
If Luke had been from Willenhall or somewhere, I don't think there's any farms in Willenhall. They'd have gone, yeah, go for it. Get on your spaceship and off you go, mate. Good luck. But I think we're going to have to start calling this the 3 Star Wars podcast if we don't change subjects.
Well, I'll battle against that as much as a fan I may turn into. But so Disney Plus, I'm watching that on, and they've been in touch with me. Something as well. Have you guys noticed again, changing the subject, I'm sorry, but
Keep it going, let's
many
go.
random kind of emails off companies and like how much everyone's really reaching out to help us through this kind of like quarantine/lockdown situation. Have you had any of those?
Shaun, the only thing I'm going to say is, are all of these companies necessarily trying to help, or are some of them just trying to capitalize on the situation and thinking, you know what, everyone's bored, let me reach out and let me see what we can do? Because for me personally, when Domino's and Just Eat email me, they're saying, look, we're still open for business, but to help everyone out, there are going to be no cash orders and they will be contact-free deliveries. Those messages I feel are great because they are helping. But then when I've got My Protein texting me, telling me that it's 60% off for protein and get it all now while stocks last, I'm like, how does that help me in this time?
Yeah, the company who offered me a 6-berth tent with free delivery, I'm not sure whether that's motivated by kindness and wellness or...
Well, I was, do you know, I've just remembered, I'd forgotten this earlier, but I was speaking to Luke yesterday, Luke, one of our trainers, and we were talking about a similar subject, but he was basically saying, ASOS sending all these emails like, listen, you can buy this, you can buy that, and are they really worried about the kind of like lockdown situation, or are they just trying to flog that T-shirt that says "I love the NHS"? We don't know, right?
You know what?
I'm sure a lot of companies are doing great things, great causes. You know.
I was going to say, I think we need to look at it as a glass half full thing, whereas some companies are doing it because they're being lovely and they're trying to help society. The other side is if they're trying to help themselves through this difficult time and keep running and keep their staff there, then fantastic. You know what I mean?
If they're keeping people employed, I'm
exactly,
all for it.
and safely.
100%. So
yeah.
How dare we kind of question that? I suppose, really, you know.
In a way,
Even saying that, there was a really big shout from ourselves. I don't know whether you boys are aware. Rich, I'm sure you are. Something to be quite proud of, actually. That we, as Samsung, sent. Am I being over exaggerated when I say 2,000, Rich?
2,000 phones.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it. 2,000 phones, and we sent those out to hospitals, I believe.
The Nightingale
for
hospitals.
NHS workers to be used.
Yeah.
So you know, I mean, that's trying to keep people in touch, keep them entertained and keep them engaged and stuff. I think, you know, there's a big shout. So we're doing things as well, and I think that's a massive shout there. 2,000 devices to those Nightingale hospitals, and the staff truly. There's a lot of people on the front line that don't get recognised at the minute. The lorry drivers, the people in supermarkets, and I appreciate all that. But on the true front line of like pushing themselves in the face of danger, that's who we've kind of gone towards supporting a little bit. So we can be proud of that, gents. I know I am, and I presume you guys would be as well.
Oh, hell yeah. I literally reading the article as we were talking, and it was saying that Facebook are also donating over 2,000 of its portal video calling screens for those staff.
Sweet.
So they can keep, because, they are vulnerable, and obviously they're isolating even more so than everybody else to keep this wonderful, the old lady, the NHS running. And also, NHS England apparently ordered a load of phones and tablets for their staff, which they needed anyway, and we're supplying them at cost, so we're not taking profit. So, you know what? I think everybody. We're not just picking up Samsung. Loads of companies are doing this, and it does kind of make you feel that it can bring out the best in society, not the worst.
All I hope as a bit of the bit of the spiritual side of me inside is just hopes that after this it does bring us, being as we've been apart, it gives us a sense of togetherness, and I think we've all been forced to kind of get closer as well as work colleagues and friends, and I hope that spawns out. You do get a few more kind of hellos or a nod or the smile as you're out shopping, and people are just getting through this. So I hope that kind of like really has some legacy to it after this, when we get back to some sense of normality, whatever that looks like. And I'm really pleased that the businesses, a lot of big powerful companies, have taken a lead in kind of setting the stool for the rest of us to follow, really. So really proud moment there, yeah.
Ooh. Go, everybody. That's a great question.
Miles, can I for as far as enthusiasm goes, woo, and then go, everybody.
That was a 2 out of 10, wasn't it?
It was.
Nah.
The thought
Meal is
was there.
asleep. Meal is asleep. I'll have to do quiet celebrations. But
Go, hashtag
Shaun,
that, go everybody.
The good question is, in this new normal, how much effect will social distancing have had? So like when you go shopping now and you turn around and see someone breathing down the back of your neck after spending 3 months 2 meters apart from everyone, it's one of them things. Because like what's happened that I've seen is everyone said there was a quarantine and no one took it seriously. The quarantine came and no one knew what to do. And then everyone started to settle into the quarantine. And what's happening now is everyone's just like, oh, I just want this to be over, just so we can go back to normal. But then as soon as we go back to normal, some people are going to be like, you know what? 2 meters apart wasn't a bad idea.
could be the new norm. And you're speaking to a guy, remember, that in my spare time, my biggest amount of enjoyment, or one of my biggest amount of enjoyments, it comes from having sweaty men rolling all over me and sweating into my face, which is of course Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So like, you know, just just the fact of kind of like training in there, which is as close as, it's like wrestling basically for those that don't know, or grappling. So I like that physical contact is something that I pay money to go and do, and that we're talking now in the jiu-jitsu world that like maybe training isn't going to be the same for some time. So I'll probably, my life and normal for my life will probably be much further away than some other people and that. And I do think that it's going to be a while until we go to concerts the way we used to, sporting events the way we used to, and even I think we're used to now in supermarkets. I was at one just last night, and that 2 meter gap thing, everyone's just doing really naturally now, and I honestly think that might be something that we are aware of, which is the big test for me is when I first get on the tube at peak hour. I want to just know how that works, because that has got to be in the norm. If you're not doing jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, then being up close physically to strangers, being on the tube at 10 to 9, or, you know, within that kind of hour, or after 5:30 is when you're forced and it becomes normal to have your head under someone's armpit, you know, and your bag, you know, yeah. So
I'm going to stick to my...
Who knows?
I think, you know, some people still need to learn. I think some people still need to respect space. But in a bigger thing, then actually a little bit of distance from people we don't know and love is absolutely fine, because there's other things out there as well as coronavirus. There's, you know, all the usual seasonal flus and, you know, that weird rash that Miles had last week. You know, you don't want to get these things. So,
This is true.
You know what? If, like you say, new normal, we can do a better version of what we had before.
It'll be a new normal, especially for us guys at work as well, because we went from a training everyone face to face, or majority of people face to face. We put things out online, but it was always referring back to the face to face training, or it was to do with upcoming face to face training. And what I'm seeing now, the way that we're training with our backstage live process and we're doing live training sessions, is when the world goes back to the new normal and we can start going back out and interacting with people. Our new normal, how much of that are we going to go back to? Like, we've got great platforms where we know anyone can tune in at any time now. So it's a good, interesting one. I can't wait to see.
It is an interesting one, and on that, I think that's a good place to position Backstage Live that everyone can tune into. We're doing our best to keep everyone engaged, guys. We hope you're getting involved, and please, the best way to get in touch with us to give you more of what you want is to, of course, like, comment, subscribe to this, and let us know on those Backstage Live forums as well. We're putting out new content all the time, but we want to know what you want to see more of. So let us know, and we'll be able to give you more of that. Backstage Live, go onto the Backstage app and check out what's available on a daily basis throughout the week. And there's something for everyone. I like to think anyway. But I think with that, that's a good point to wrap up. And I'm looking forward to the next time that we're in the studio, guys. I know we're in May now, at the very beginning of May. So I'm looking forward to the first time that we get to be in our studio again, recording one of these podcasts. But if not, and until that's possible to do so, we'll remain doing the Freestyle podcast in this forum.
I think Shaun has frozen.
Rich, Miles, any closing words?
Stage fright. As Shaun was saying, guys, make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe this video. Don't forget to check out www.samsungbackstage.co.uk. Also, don't forget to make sure you give a follow to Samsung Backstage's Instagram and Facebook pages as well, where you can stay up to date with all things Samsung and our Backstage live training as well. All sorts of training, fun games, and the 3-Star Podcast Light Edition, as well as the 3-Star Podcast that we bring to you from our homes at the minute. But yeah, like Shaun said, we can't wait till we are back. Oh, bye Shaun. We can't wait till we are back in the studio with a steady internet connection. Well, we don't need any connection in the studio, but steady connection, all face to face. And more importantly, I'm sure we all can't wait to be back with our loved ones and just give them a hug. I mean, I'm sure we're all still speaking to our loved ones. A lot of us live with our loved ones, but there are still more. So when this is all over, hopefully we'll be able to just reach out, give everyone a nice big hug and a handshake, and adapt to this new norm. Before we leave, Rich, do you have anything?
Stay safe, you must.
Yes, as always, stay safe, stay home. I've been Miles. Shaun was here. That was Richard. Thank you very much. We've been the 3-Star Podcast. See you soon, guys.